What do you get when you combine classic rock with the aesthetics of garage rock and a good dose of power pop? Right, the Raconteurs or the Raconteurs. This review contains a supergroup that isn't a supergroup, jamming in the attic, and the confusing landscape of the various US Billboard charts. Welcome in the Indie Corner for another Murdock Music Minute. So let me tell you a story, guys, about two friends and a song written in an attic. This is how we get to the album I'd like to talk about, and that's also how this band got together. More in a band history slideshow. This is the story of Jack. Jack is a guitarist and producer from Detroit and plays in a cool garage rock duo called the White Stripes. But Jack has a friend. Meet Brandon. Brandon also is a musician. He is an indie singer-songwriter with a couple of solo records under his belt. Jack and Brandon like meeting and writing songs together from time to time. One summer, they meet in an attic and write a song they really like. But in order to record it properly, they want a real band. So they ring up their buddies Jack and Patrick from Ohio-based garage rock band The Greenhorns, call themselves the RACONTEURS, and thus form a kind of supergroup of the noughties indie rock scene. The debut album of this indie garage rock supergroup that didn't want to be seen as a planned supergroup was recorded in Brandon Benson's home studio and starts with the song they wrote in that attic, Steady as She Goes. It was also the first single with which this act introduced itself to the world, and they couldn't have chosen a better song for this purpose. It sounds pretty much like you would imagine the combination of Jack White's bluesy garage rock and Brandon Benson's more melodic power pop. The end result is a catchy modern rock song about the great questions in life regarding getting married and settling down or staying wild and independent. It is a great rock song from so far the last decade in which rock music had a greater cultural relevance. It charted at number 30 in the US mainstream rock charts and number 4 in the UK, as well as number 1 in Canada.
Your friends have shown a kink in the single life. You've had too much to think, now you need a wife. Steady as she goes. So steady as she goes. Well, here we go again.
Putting the hit single at the beginning might cause worries that this is a front-loaded vanity project. Let's see track by track. Steady as She Goes is followed by Hands, a great straightforward rock song with unfuzzy major chords, sweet harmony vocals, and powerful guitars. It was another well-chosen single, this time at least cracking the UK top 30. Lyrically, it's very direct as well, just how good power pop should be.
Girl, you got those hands that heal. Help me get in touch with what I feel. 'Cause you understand and you sympathize.
Track 3 is the album's title track, more or less. We only have the soldier in singular here in the title. This one's a bit darker and edgier, a slightly piercing acoustic guitar lick, a scampering beat, and Jack White's rather frantic vocals let this song swing more towards the White Stripes part of the Raconteurs musical spectrum. Lyrically, Broken Boy Soldier depicts the confusions of growing up. Though not the most accessible track, it's an exciting song.
I'm a child and man and child again. The toy broken boy soldier. I'm child and man, then child again. The boy never gets older. The boy never gets older.
With a salacious title like Intimate Secretary, one would maybe expect a juvenile hard rock sound in the next song. What you'll hear is more of an indie rock song with nonsensical lyrics that seem to be more about words rhyming and creating connotations. I've got a rabbit, it likes to hop. I've got a girl and she likes to shop. The other foot looks like it won't drop. I had an uncle and he got shot. It's maybe not the most essential track, but I really enjoy it.
I've got a pen, but I lost the top. I've got so many things you haven't got.
Then there is Together, a slower acoustic ballad that's got a bit of an Americana influence. It features a very nice e-piano and is a welcome change of pace at this point into the album. But the album quickly goes back to an electrified sound. Level is basically just a repetitive blues rock chord progression, but it develops both a hypnotic atmosphere and heaviness. This is the territory where Jack White feels at home. There's a really cool guitar solo in the song, one of my favorite moments on the record. At a mere 2 minutes and 20 seconds, the at its core simple song never becomes dull or outstays its welcome. And that is also reflected in its chart position of number 7 in the Billboard Modern Rock charts. How many different charts have you got in the USA? Anyways, Level was a great choice for a single. Track 7 is a different beast altogether. Store-bought Bones, with its angular stop-and-go beats, staccato organ, and high-pitched vocals, is a clear blueprint for White's other side project, The Dead Weather, who would form in 2009 and would feature Alison Mossart from The Kills, as well as the Raconteurs' own Jack Lawrence. The song is a tour de force. It kicks and staggers and then breaks into manic slide guitar rock. According to Jack White, the song has its roots in a track left unfinished by the White Stripes, and in that case, it would have moved the White Stripes into an artsier direction. You can't buy what you can't find, but you can't buy what you find that you can't buy, but you can't buy what you can't find, but you can't buy what you can't. Things are counterbalanced by Yellow Sun, an acoustic uptempo indie rock ditty. There's something really homespun about this track. You can literally imagine the band playing this in an attic. The band then proceeds to call it a day, even though that's only the second to last song on here. A slower, mellow track. It features very nice harmony backing vocals and soft bass playing. Sounds quite relaxed for a breakup song. In fact, the singing is worth mentioning on the whole album. You can't always tell whether it's White or Benson on vocals. They often trade lines back and forth in the same song. It's very well thought out and arranged. Yet the really last song on the album is the slow, waltzing blues rock of Blue Veins, a love song that is probably about Jack White's then partner Karen Elson or his little daughter. Very tasty playing, nothing new under the sun if you've ever heard any late 60s, early 70s blues rock or any Led Zeppelin record, but I quite enjoy the tranquil, slightly psychedelic mood of this final track, with parts of it being played backwards. Broken Boy Soldiers did quite well for a kind of alternative retro rock album. I guess the name of Jack White helped. I mean, he's certainly better known than Brandon Benson. This debut went into the top 10 in, for example, Canada, Ireland, Norway, and Scotland, and number 2 in the UK overall, and number 3 of the top rock albums in the USA. So there was certainly nothing broken there. A highly enjoyable record, in my opinion, certainly if you are a fan of the White Stripes or Brandon Benson, but even if you are not the biggest friend of the raw and noisy sound of the White Stripes, give the Raconteurs a try, because they are not simply a version of that duo with more band members. The first few songs maybe do not fully keep up the quality of the first two-thirds of the album, but that doesn't mean that there is a significant drop in quality or any bad song on Broken Boy Soldiers. The combination of musicians definitely worked. Maybe they saw themselves as broken boy soldiers, but their sound is pretty strong, also on the other two albums they've released over the years. Check him out. Maybe also listen to some of Brandon Benson's albums, and stay tuned for more Murdock Music Minutes.